Hey guys, Punisher88 again here with my Saturday video. So, before I get to it, I was thinking of something. Now I know all my usual videos, when I title them, it's such and such comic book review. Well, I'm thinking of changing it up a bit. So as of now, with this video, it will now be, I'm now calling the Saturday video the weekend review. So, with this being the premiere video of the weekend review under its new name, I wanted to go with something, I wanted to review a comic that was, pretty special, Now, I know usually for this I'll review a current comic from, let's say, a couple weeks back. Well, for this video, I really dug down deep. I searched through my collection of the old stuff. Well, to some, it might not be considered old for the year it came out, but it's I dug around some of my older stuff. So, and then I found one and I was like, yeah, I'm going to review that. And actually, since I got it to now, I started reading it, then I stopped. So finally today, well, this morning, I finally read it in its entirety. And I thought it was a pretty good book. And the book I'm talking about is Action Comics number 600, the 50th anniversary of Superman. Yeah, it's an 80-page giant, and the artwork is amazing. Because I mean, how can you go wrong when you have George Perez doing the colors and artwork in a book? So, and believe it or not, okay, the cover price on this book, as you can see, is, well, $2.50, right? I got this for $1, and I got it in a bargain bin, a dollar bin, and the bag and board it was in had a price cover of like $3.50 or something. So I got this for $1. 80-page comic for $1. That was a steal to me. And right off the bat, again, like I always say, I'm a sucker for comic book covers. This cover is amazing. Well, to me anyway. It's awesome. Superman is golden trophy there, and all kinds of goodies here. So, let's dive into it. This book came out in May 1988. So, that's 2 months before I was born. Anyway, it's not one big story, but more or less four, well, actually, three of the 4 mini stories in this book are separate stories, and the way they have it divided is there's one big story, then there's an interlude, and then there's like the 2 other stories. Well, part of the interlude and the 4th story, they combine together. And out of the pretty much the 4 stories in this book, the story I loved the most was the first story, and it's Superman and Wonder Woman's romance together, and you see like a you know, Superman and Wonder Woman, they meet up, and they're kind of like, talking about certain, feelings and stuff, and they kind of consider it like a first date. So yeah, and so everything is going good, and then all of a sudden, um, Wonder Woman gets like a distress, like a yeah, it's kind of like a distress call, because since she's an Amazon, she could receive, according to this, I guess, she could receive like um, messages from other godly beings. So anyway, she receives like a distress call from um, Hermes or Mercury to other people, and so she rushes to him, and Superman's all like, "No, I came this far. I'm not giving this. I'm not passing this up now. It's pretty funny actually, and actually the whole big build up is from it's a plan set by Darkseid, and actually one part of the story is really cool because he tries to set he does like a disguise. He plays with Superman and Wonder Woman's head, so he makes it look like there's like with Superman, he plays with his head, so he makes it look like he's actually like crazy in love, like crazy. Well, he is crazy about Wonder Woman, but I mean like all his like desires and stuff, like they just come out, and it looks like he's with her. And what I'm trying to get to is he Darkseid sets out decoys for both of them, and finally, when he makes them disappear, he tries to set off a big battle between Wonder Woman and Superman. And actually, I want to show you here in the book. It goes on for 3 pages of no actual dialogue. It's just 3 pages, 4 panels apiece, and in the middle you got a little picture of Darkseid's face as the fight's going on. And I thought they were amazing. Like, see here? There's the first page. Now, I don't know if you can really see it too good. So you got the first page, and then you got 2 and 3. No dialogue, just pure fight. So I thought that was really neat because there's a lot of books that they could pull that off really good, and then there's some that's just like, why? With the older books, with the older comics, I love when they do that kind of stuff. So, like one book in particular that's really famous for doing that, it's almost no dialogue, is in one of the old Amazing Spider-Man comics. There's a couple scenes where it's like that, and the way that the pictures are drawn, it's like there's no dialogue is needed. You actually just, from the pictures alone, it's like you make up the story in your head yourself, and you can kind of like, you could sense what's going on with Spider-Man and everything, and really cool. Don't ask what issue it is, because off the top of my head, I forget. I know it's an older book, so that's all I know right now. But anyway, so, and after that big fight scene between Superman and Wonder Woman, you find out it's actually a trick that they actually pulled on Darkseid, and Darkseid goes all crazy and everything, and kind of like just takes off running, And in the very end of that story, basically Superman flat out tells Wonder Woman that she's out of his league, because how he saw about this all kinds of stuff coming together with the gods and everything. Because um, after while Superman and Wonder Woman are fighting, the main part is Darkseid's trying to take over Olympus, and when he gets defeated after he's finds out there was the whole fight thing between Supes and all that was just a trick. He before running he sets off like a detonator to blow up Olympus, but nothing happens, and he finds out that godly powers are like super strong, and he's all like he realizes up until that point how people revered Superman as like such like a godly being, and after seeing real godly powers in play, he realizes he's just local farm boy from Kansas. He goes above all that. Whereas when he's talking to Wonder Woman, saying that she's out of his league, she's been around gods and stuff. She's an Amazon. She's a goddess and everything. So he's like, I've come to respect you even more by finding you're two out of my league. And then Wonder Woman's all like, I respect that, but can we remain friends? And end scene, end of story, which was really cool. Like I said, I find the first story in the book was my favorite. The second story after that is then it goes into the whole interlude thing. So the interlude parts were like so. Like the first part, it follows Lois Lane and all this stuff, and there's this whole big thing where they pass off Superman and Wonder Woman like in a relationship, and Lois Lane gets all ticked off and all that because she loves Superman, blah blah blah. I'm sure you guys know the story of Superman and Lois Lane, and so she gets all ticked off, and Clark knows about it, and so he goes to her place, and he's trying to, if you want to talk, whatever. So that's going on. So Lois is all that. It's actually very, very short. The interlude parts, they're like little mini stories. So so she's just getting all happy with them again, and all of a sudden something happens, and bingo, Superman's gone. So Lois gets all pissed off all over again. It was pretty funny how it happened. So the second part of the interlude deals with Lex Luthor, and well, actually, I guess I'm kind of wrong, because actually I think all the stories actually do kind of combine, because the first story you got Superman and Wonder Woman with the whole romance thing, and then that feeds into the part with Lois Lane with the whole Superman. It's a newspaper story breaks out from Boston and gets back to Metropolis about the whole Superman Wonder Woman being in a relationship. So, and then so then with the whole thing with Lois Lane, when Clark is at her place, the very last scene of that little part of the story is Superman hears like a buzzing sound, and he rushes away. You see him rip the typical rip the shirt off, Superman, blah blah blah, and then he zooms out. Then the next thing is with Lex Luthor, and he's having this like meeting with I forget the girl's name. Anyway, he's having this meeting, and all of a sudden he starts freaking out. And he says he has this like pain in his hand and everything, and you come to find out that because I'm guessing in the 80s comics, Lex Luthor, he always wore this ring, and it's actually a kryptonite ring, so Superman can't touch him. And from over time of wearing this ring, you find out in this story that he's developed kryptonite poisoning. And they're saying that the only way to stop it is they'd have to chop his hand off. And that's like the very the story, and then it folds into the third part of the interlude, which is with um, Superman's friend Jimmy Olsen. And with the start of that little part of the story, it kind of connects to the Lois Lane one, because you see the first part of the Jimmy Olsen story. He mentions that he's developed a little like a high pitched frequency in his watch that only Superman can hear, and whenever there's trouble, if he sets it off, Superman can hear it, and so he could come to the rescue pretty much. And so he gets to Jimmy Olsen's town, and there's this big tanker truck, and it's leaking all kinds of this toxic waste all over the place. And so Superman rushes in, and he prevents the truck from leaking and all of a sudden he just like passes out. He gets like really weak to the point where like Jimmy Olsen just goes to pick him up, and like it hurts him. So Jimmy Olsen's like freaking out and everything. He's all like, what the hell's going on, you know? And Superman looks at him and just mentions the word kryptonite. So then Jimmy Olsen asks him, he's like, what are you talking about? And come to find out, when Krypton blew up, and there's a whole explanation of when Superman came to Earth at the speed he was traveling in, the little spaceship he was in was actually fast. He got to Earth faster than the actual shockwave of the explosion of the planet blowing up could reach here, because he was going, and they explain here, his craft was traveling at hyperspeed, and the explosion, the shockwave of the explosion from Krypton would only travel at light speed, so he got here faster. I know, going all sciencey on you guys. So, anyway, so now with him at this point being all weak and everything, we come to find out it's the fallout from Krypton blowing up. So it's all like all the kryptonite radiation and everything is getting to him. So, and he tells Jimmy the only way to save him is he has to get him into a cave. The reason why is because, if you guys know about Superman, the only thing that could really save him is lead-lined objects. The kryptonite can't get to him, which is why I think with his X-ray vision he can't see through lead objects or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. And so Jimmy brings him into a cave, and as he leaves him there, Superman tells Jimmy that he has to get him help. And the only ones who he knows who can help him are alien beings. So he mentions Martian Manhunter, and he mentions the Green Lanterns, plural, because we all know Hal Jordan's from Earth, and I believe John Stewart's also from Earth, but he says Green Lanterns because we know it's not just humans who are part of the Corps. Anyway, those are a whole other bunch of comics to get into. So, and then Jimmy leaves. Okay. Then we set up to the fourth story, which involves Superman getting into a fight with Man-Bat. So, Man-Bat starts off, it's all pretty much mostly monologue of Man-Bat talking about when he ran into Superman. And when I say the stories tie together, the Jimmy Olsen story ties into this one, because when Man-Bat fights Superman, it's in that cave that Jimmy Olsen left him in. But at this point in time, now Superman's not so weak anymore. Now he's getting all delirious and everything, which sets him off to fight Man-Bat. And it's pretty funny because before the fight even starts, Man-Bat is actually trying to help Superman. And I've always known Man-Bat as being a villain. So it's pretty funny seeing him sort of play the good guy for the first little bit. But anyway, So they basically have a big fight and everything, and Superman's all going crazy. He's all scared of Man-Bat and all that. And finally, towards the very last, one of the last panels in the story, um, Man-Bat says that he's going to try and talk to Superman in his by his human persona, which is, hold on, I'm just trying to find his name here. It is, sorry guys, no, that's not his name. Where is it here? Oh my god, I feel like I'm stalling you guys. It is. If I can't find it, well, I'll just keep explaining myself. Oh, yes. Kirk Langstrom. That's it. Yes. Anyway, he explains that he's going to try and talk to him in as much of a normal voice as possible. Well, anyway, as he's talking to Superman, telling him to remember who he is and everything, Superman, all of a sudden, he just, stops, and he apologizes to him. He says he's sorry for attacking him, and then Man-Bat kind of just, flies away. And so he leaves Superman there in the cave, all weak again from the fight. And the very last, just before Man-Bat flies away, he kind of gives a hint of a fellow brethren who can maybe help Superman. And it's kind of, he's pretty much hinting about talking about trying to go find Batman. Which is pretty cool. It's in his very last panel of his story. Well, that you see Man-Bat anyway. And then the very, very last panel of the book, you see Superman's all cowered inside the cave. He's just sitting there, and Hawkman appears. And then that's it. And then you find out that the story continues in the Superman comics, not Action Comics. So, and I think up until that point, I wanted to try starting to look for different ones, but I realized how much the Action Comics intertwined with Superman, and almost every couple issues, it was this story continues in this title. It was confusing. So I'm just I'll stick to one title. If I'm going to collect Action Comics, I'll collect Action Comics. Vice versa, if I decide to start collecting Detective Comics for Batman. But I didn't check into that. But anyway, this is about Superman right now. So, yeah, so anyway, pretty much all the stories, they intermingle. So, so I kind of, well, not kind of, I love the book. I mean, it was great. I mean, again, from the cover to the artwork on the inside, because it's not just George Perez. The Man-Bat story, it's drawn by Mike Mignola. Now, if you guys know who that is, you know he's famous for all the Hellboy stuff and whatever, and he's done Batman also. But I mean, it's pretty cool. A lot of that story, the artwork was cool, and there's one splash page in this book done by an artist that I like a lot, and it's Mike Zeck. And this is it right here. Look at that. That's so you got all the bullets flying at him. There's Man-Bat right there. That's cool. But yeah, that Mike Zeck splash page is awesome. And if you guys are wondering why I'm going gaga over one page in the whole book done by Mike Zeck, it's because he's also known for doing another character in the Marvel spectrum who goes by the Punisher. So if you ever want to check his stuff out, the early '80s Punisher stuff, awesome stuff. I have not his whole run from 87 onward, but I have quite a few of the individual books. I have the issue #1, which was like awesome when I found it. I got it for $1 too, so I was really happy about that. And that went on for 104 issues and 7 annuals, which I don't know if he did the art in, but anyway. Again, I'm rambling, and now I'm starting to bring in Marvel into DC, and anyway. So, to get back to the main thing, the book itself, awesome, because he had so many different. He had Mike Mignola, he had George Perez, he had I don't know if it's Walt Simonson. Anyway, known for doing his Thor stuff. There's, I believe his name is Dan Giordano. I forget his first name, but anyway, he's also amazing with DC comics and stuff. So, a lot of big name artists in this book, and also the writing. I mean, it was John Byrne. I mean, I like John Byrne because, again, just switching over to Marvel for a bit, he did a long run on Alpha Flight. Well, not too long, but John Byrne did great writing on that. So, I mean, to me, you guys might think it was crap. To those who know who John Byrne is. So, anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So, love the art, love the writing. Again, for the third or fourth time, love the cover. The price was awesome. Found it in a dollar bin. Yeah, I mean, it's not like I said. Well, I'd recommend this to anyone who could find it. If you guys go to a local comic shop and they have dollar bins or whatever, and you find this, pick it up. And even if you don't want to get it for the story, just to have it, I mean, it's cool. You know, it's the 50th anniversary of Superman. I mean, I know we're just celebrating the 75th anniversary, but this was cool. This is cool to have in any collection, just for the sake of saying you have it, you know. 2 Superman books I would like to get myself personally to own in my collection. I mean, everyone wants Action Comics #1, which is like a $3 gazillion book now, but 2 books that I've seen that I would really love to get are, I forget their actual issue numbers, but it's Superman and Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. The reason why is because they were written by Alan Moore, and those who know Alan Moore, he's one of the best writers ever. I mean, he's kind of alienated himself from everything superhero now, but that's besides the point. So, when everything comes down to it, do I recommend this? Oh, hell yeah. It gets one hell of a thumbs up, and yeah, if you guys could find this, go get it. I mean, you know, even if they're charging the cover price, $250 now, that's not bad. But if you could get it for cheaper, pick it up, check it out. So, with that being said, brings us to the end of our weekend review. Finally, after like 28 minutes. So, till the next video, which will be coming to you on Thursday, unless my loot crate comes in, and then I'll be doing an unboxing video. Stay tuned, and as usual, like, subscribe, comment if you feel like it, and till next time, see ya!